Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
As you know, we open the show every Monday with a rundown of the topics that intrigued us the most over the weekend. And I don't know who's going with what. I thought for sure we would have some Julio Rodríguez talk, and we will. But depending on what order we go in for the weekend storyline segment, which is, as always, presented by DIRECTV, home to the most local MLB games. You know them, you love them. Shout out to DIRECTV for sponsoring the segment. They're the home to the most MLB games. But I feel like the Little League World Series is going to be a part of this discussion here. I don't know how we avoid it. I don't know how this is a baseball podcast. It's not an MLB podcast. It's a baseball podcast. I don't know how we have a discussion about baseball and not include the Little League World Series. So who is going to be the person that goes first and brings up that topic?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. That's going to be me. Why? Because I'm the one who's watching the Little League World Series. Why? Because I'm the one who was tweeting about the Little League World Series. Why? Because some folks believe we have a 37-year-old man pitching for Taiwan, and some folks might just want to overlook that and say, but you know what? That man, that fully grown man, is throwing 104 miles an hour, and he's throwing 93-mile-an-hour sliders. So let's just take a minute to overlook birth certificates and age requirements and shit like that, right? And let's just enjoy the pure domination we're seeing unfold on the Little League Diamond, because homeboy from Taiwan is an absolute force, a force. Now, I know there's speculation like, oh man, look at the size of the kid's head. Look at his jawline. Look at his facial structure. I'm pretty sure his wife and children are in the stands watching this game. Like, what are you talking about? He's 12. So that makes it all the more interesting. That makes it all the more, and let's remember, America. We've been down this road as well. I brought up Danny Almonte a few months ago, and we can circle back now.
I almost played against him.
Because it was was this like a Legion game where you were 19 and he was 17 and you guys were playing against 14-year-olds?
No, this was 2000.
You Danny
and
Alamonte, Danny Alamonte.
2001. I played in Cooperstown Dreams Park, and he had the choice to either play at Cooperstown Dreams Park or the Little League World Series, and obviously he chose the Little League World Series.
Jared's just that older kid, kind of like at softball. Like when you get older, you just hang around the diamond and like, oh, somebody needs an extra player. Like you just get picked up free agent style. Jared's just kicking around the fucking Cooperstown yard. No, I'm 17, but I got a birth certificate guy in the parking lot. So if you need it, we're good to go. You just say it. We're good to go. You need a 12-year-old. I got that.
That was a bitch for that.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, but that's the story. That's the story. Is this kid from Taiwan going to give up a hit? Right? He's already fucking dicing up perfectos. He hit a ball so hard the camera couldn't even track the ball he hit out of the park. Like, gone. It was gone, and the camera was like still on him.
They threw a perfect game. Taiwan threw a perfect game against Canada, and this kid had a fucking immaculate inning with 9 strikeouts. 3 perfect innings, 9 strikeouts, and an immaculate inning. It was a combined perfect game.
Pretty good.
I also want to take some time to shout out the left-handed catcher from Canada. That is beautiful.
I'm willing to bet. I don't know if you're allowed to bet on little kids. That's not something I would do if I was given the opportunity. And I want to put a bet in that he will not give up a hit the entire tournament. If he's throwing 80 miles per hour, that's equivalent to
81.
That's the equivalent to this is what I tweeted. It's the equivalent to 104 mile an hour fastball.
I'm seeing 110. I'm seeing 110
with 93 mile an hour sliders.
This clip that they're showing of the immaculate inning has the perceived velocity, and they've got him at 105.
Okay. The Athletic says
they're factoring in perceived velocity now with this little leaguer, like the extension on the mound. Okay.
The Athletic says that it's a 110 to 113 mile per hour fastball from that distance. That's the reaction time that the kids are looking at.
Time out. See, this is where I have a problem with shit like this. Like we can't just go throwing that around. I'm not telling you that you're wrong, Joe. I'm just saying we need to bring this back down to earth here for a minute. Because if we have a broadcast who's probably comfortable with their math and their conversions, putting up 104, 105, and then we have like a news outlet who's like, actually, you guys are 10 miles an hour off. 8 miles, it's 113 is like, what? Like, we have to have a conversation about that because we got guys in the big leagues who are throwing 104. So it's feasible. But now we're talking about 110, 113 miles an hour.
It makes sense.
We gotta slow the fuck down here.
That number makes sense to me because I remember in the old Little League World Series when I was a little kid, they would put the equivalent, Major League equivalent, and people be throwing 70. Like that's the fastest I ever saw kids throw in like Little League World Series. Like 70,
remember
75.
Sean Burrows. Sean Burrows was a kid from Long Beach who grew up, went to the big leagues, played big, but Sean Burrows was throwing the ball like 75, 80 miles an hour across the diamond from shortstop. And then he got on the mound and was just embarrassing people. So I've never in my life seen 105 mile an hour equivalency. I've never I can't even wrap my fucking head around.
Yeah, you never see
to watch a 12-year-old dial up 105 because every time it's happened, to the point of Danny Almonte again, you found out that the kid's closer to driving than he is wet in the bed.
Hey man,
if I told you I'll give you $100 million if you get this correct, yes or no? Is he of age?
Oh man. So how do I respond to that? How do I say it? Trying not to take anything away from what we're seeing unfold on the field, because I think I just did a pretty good job of laying out like I'm here for the domination. Like if we got to check birth certificates later after the tournament's over, okay, that's fine. Let's just enjoy what we're seeing.
That's child abuse.
It's tough to look at this young man and look at some of the other children and think just like, because you watch mannerisms and you watch the way, guys just move. And he seems fairly mature for a 12/13-year-old. Because remember, you can be 13 here. But just like the physical maturity, I think leaves you questioning like, damn, this is about the most mature 13-year-old I think I've ever seen on the planet. Or if you were to tell me that he's not 13, I could probably believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's 12. I'll say it. I'm on his side. I'm not going to say I think he's fucking 12.
You are a damn liar.
Yeah. I think he's 12. I'm not accusing this kid of being fucking older than 12. I know it's a bad look.
Joe's just trying to get that first Taiwan interview after this is all over for his YouTube channel.
Oh, bro, I've covered Taiwan Little League. I know this stuff like the back of my hand, bro. And that's kind of the problem with this, is that he's playing for Taiwan, who has the richest history of Little League cheating ever by far, where they did it for a decade. And they won an entire tournament without giving up a hit. They won like 7 in a row. I mean, I could read off the stats if I could find them, but they will blow your mind how sick they were and how they all came crumbling down. It was state-sponsored cheating for political reasons. Mm-hmm. And it was like crazy. It's mind-blowing shit. But that was, 20, 30 years ago. You'd think, and they got banned from Little League for that, you'd think that they've had better ways. Like back then, Wild Wild West. Now, there's probably better ways to check this shit and do it. So I think he's 12.
Here's a question. Like you're throwing around state-sponsored cheating for Little League. And Joey, I'm not telling you that you're off the beaten path here, but like, how far away are we from teams like, instead of those nighttime gummies having melatonin in them, I don't know, maybe those nighttime gummies have a little more recovery to them. Like, are you talking PED territory here, Joe?
I have not found any proof of PEDs for the Little Leaguers. I'm sure that happens for 12, 13-year-old kids, like in certain places. Like some of these kids are probably on some shit, but
rush up.
The stuff the crazy thing about, there's books about this, about Taiwan, what they used to do when they the political animosity between them and China and the government trying to use Little League as like some rallying cry.
Hey, I dropped so in that tweet that I tweeted about this dude, like I used the team name that is quite literally on the television, right?
Yeah.
Chinese Taipei. And people were like, "Oh, bro, have you done it? Have you done it? Do you not have any fucking clue? This is a it's because Taiwan, it's because China, the Chinese Republic won't allow Taiwan to be themselves." I was like, look, time out, dude. If you know anything about me, I'm here for the underdog. So if I'd have known that was like an etiquette thing, or I could have made you a little happier by just throwing a Taiwan up there instead of a Chinese Taipei, forgive me. There was no no malice on my behalf.
Regular old Daryl Morey over here.
I'm here to. Jeez.
Yeah, I've been down that path myself when I covered this stuff, you know, because I did it for the title. I put China in the title for clickbait, and it's like, you know, the whole video was chill, but like people just saying China, even though they called themselves China, was controversial because, you know, they'll claim they are China.
They can't be. Well, right, and
like, that's
the whole thing is they can't say we're.
This podcast is
Taiwan.
about to get controversial if we keep talking about this.
Well, I don't know anything about it, really.
That's
like
the biggest
deeply,
problem
really
for
have.
us is that I don't think any of us.
Joey, I thought you were somehow getting ready to tie the Little League World Series PED ring to the mascot cocaine ring. I thought that's where this was going.
Speaking of your YouTube channel, you had a wild pronunciation of the word differential.
Don't even start.
There's a couple words that you pronounced in that video.
This coming from you? Captain Coriander is firing fucking pronunciation.
That's how he said differential. Like in the video, there's like two different words where it's just he made up a word. I knew what he meant, but completely made up a word.
Yeah, I saw your fucking comment, dude. I saw you coming. You know, and it's the funny thing is, bro, it's like this is coming the guy who faked the Boston accent for years, dude. Are we bringing up that shit? You know,
that's how I talked.
You faked the Boston accent. Listen, you know how many words?
Spend one day with my family, and you'll see that's what I grew up with. I had the accent. I just don't.
Jake doesn't talk like that. Never has, never will. And he's the most Boston guy ever.
Jake's not from Saugus.
He's Boston. He's more Boston than you, bro.
He's from the water.
Either way,
Jake's a mermaid.
I said a lot of words in that video, and honestly, I went back and looked it up how many words I said. It was like something like 4,000 words. I got one of them wrong. Big fucking whoop. Okay.
There's that. No, there was a second one. I have to go back and make a note of what the second word was. But it was a wild pronunciation of like that word as well.
I guarantee you there's 5 or 6 words that I said wrong. But that's fine because it's a lot of words and we're trying our best.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing a great job.
Really
it's a
great
great
video.
Here. Yeah. Go check it out. What was the other point that I wanted to make about the
hold on. Here's my question. Jared, any chance you touch this kid from Little League distance?
No fucking way. I don't think that there's I said it the other day and I wasn't joking. Like, I think from Little League distance, like he could have a competitive at bat against a big leaguer, I think.
What?
Mm-hmm.
From that distance?
I agree.
No.
Like, if he's just throwing straight four-seamer, like big leaguers are able to time 110 if they see 110 enough. But the movement on some of his pitches, like if he was mixing his pitches, he could have a competitive at bat against a big leaguer.
They are not featuring anything. He is not featuring anything that those guys in the big leagues haven't seen.
I think it's the same thing when you put a major leaguer against a softball pitcher throwing gas from that distance. It's just completely different. It's like a completely different.
Those are two completely different conversations.
They're not completely different. They're kind of similar.
They are because one baseball is doing things that the other ball just never has done in the lifetime of the hitter tracking it. So those are different.
You're a major league player, and since you were 13, probably younger for most of them, you're facing 60 feet. All right. And then tomorrow you're facing 45 feet.
We're having two different conversations about the trajectory of the projectile that I am tracking. In one game, the ball just never goes up, Joe. It just never, there's laws like physical in positions that just mean the baseball is not going to go up. It's always going to be going down. And in softball, that's very different. Softball, they throw it from all the way down here, and the ball can go up. So we're talking about tracking things completely differently.
True, but then there's
just a different conversation.
There's also another whole aspect to the softball advantage when a softball player goes around against a major league player, or it's the distance. So yes, it's different than softball.
Yeah,
underhand
back to
overhand.
Little League distance.
You're telling me, Dallas, that if this kid faced Giancarlo Stanton 10 times, he wouldn't strike him out once?
100%.
Definitely.
I mean, I feel like that's a bad. Example.
That's a great example. I'm talking one of the worst hitters in baseball that swings wildly at breaking shit away. Like, that's the perfect candidate to be like, all right, Giancarlo Stanton, he's got the ability to waffle one, but there's a lot. Let's just say there's a lot of swing and miss there, without being too mean. I think if Giancarlo Stanton faces this kid 10 times, he probably maybe hits 3-4 home runs, but he probably strikes out at least once.
I mean, 3-4 home runs. If Giancarlo Stanton hits the baseball, like we're playing on a Little League field, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those balls are probably gonna clear the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun little it's a fun exercise. That's what makes it fun to think about. Like, because what would be more entertaining? Watching this kid get on a big league mound and try to flip that shit up there and punch out Giancarlo Stanton, or watching them compete against each other on a Little League diamond. Like, what's
on a Little League diamond, but he would have to literally sign a waiver saying, like, if I die, it's not
kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not my
it's not
the fault of the person setting up this showdown. Because Stanton can hit a ball 120 miles an hour off the bat, and then he's 42 feet away. So that's death. That's death for a lot of people.
You literally have no time to react. You're going to let the ball go, and then you're going to eat the baseball.
Yeah. You're going to let Jesus take the wheel on that one. And Jesus had a couple cocktails. So you may not be in a great spot.
He is a water to wine guy, you know?
Yeah, he is.
Don't hold it against him.
Yeah. All right, so Japan versus Taiwan. Is that 5 Eastern, Joe?
5 Eastern.
Probably.
5 Eastern.
Big game to watch. 2 powerhouses. And this Japanese team, I didn't watch them. From what I heard, they've been wrecking guys. I think they only played 1 game, but yeah, Japan's always beast out of the league.
Okay. Japan versus Taiwan. Well, what was your thing that stood out to you over the weekend, Joseph?
I have a few things. I mean, we wanted to start with Julio because I know that's going to be the main topic, or we want to wait.
Yeah, might as well.
Well,
just Julio out hitting the world.
I mean,
Julio,
you can
we could talk about Julio right now. I think I want to do like a larger, like hit on Julio, but also do like a larger scope type deal on the Mariners.
Okay, the Mariners. I was going to do a 2-in-1. They're 2 peas in a pod. There, you can't bring up Julio Rodríguez without mentioning the Mariners guys.
You're right.
He's one of their players, and he's their best player at the moment. 4 games, 17 hits. 4 games, 17 hits. That's a record. Yeah. That's more than the Yankees had during those 4 games. And people are trashing the Yankees. The Yankees suck. I know it's funny to say that, but that's more than the Rangers had during those 4 days, too. And the Rangers are the best offense in baseball. If not, they're up there. Obviously not the best.
And just as many as the Toronto Blue Jays.
There you go. Yes. So 4 days, 17 hits, more WAR in 1 week than Harold Baines had in like half the seasons. That was a tweet that someone sent me that I couldn't wait to bring up, and then Jay interacted with it, kind of spoiled it a little bit. But
I'm sorry,
that's news to me.
I got tagged in it too. I saw you were there. I was like, oh, all right, here we go.
It's not Jayhay's fault. It's that fucking asshole who tagged them, dude. Because I was going to bring that up.
That's right. You got it out. You got it out,
dude.
that fucking asshole.
I got a nug too. Yeah. So 1.5 WAR in 1 week. I mean, that's more than the damn Rockies have. They got -1 WAR, -0.1 WAR. But the most interesting part for me, is just how crazy the Mariners have been going off. Like in just 5 days, go from completely out of it. They're 3 games back right now. In 5 days, went from like 30% playoff odds to 60 odds in 5 days.
Dude, it was at this point last week when we were recording. They were at 29%. It's a completely different
and now they are
it's a
on the
completely
doorstep.
different, to Joey's point, it's a completely different conversation than it was even last week when we were recording the Monday pod.
This is why baseball is so insanely ridiculous to keep up with and to try to follow, because if you miss a fucking series, the team that you were touting could very well be the team you're putting at the back of the pack after a series, because you're like, I don't know, man. There's 3 turns through the rotation. The offense did not look great. I just don't know if this team has it. And now you're watching the Mariners ride one of their young superstars who quite literally out-hit 4 or 5 teams over the weekend, all himself, and riding his production has gotten everybody else excited, has heated everybody else up, and now a team that was a mere afterthought, a tail end to the conversation, is now smack dab in the middle of this.
It's
so for one exact month now, from July 20th to yesterday, so entering play today, August 20th, the Seattle Mariners are 22-7. That is the best record in baseball.
I mean, it's great too, because now we have a legitimate 3-team race in the AL West, separate from what's going on in the wild card, right? Where the Mariners have essentially erased the entire deficit. They're percentage points behind the Astros in both cases, right? And specific to Julio, I just think it's important because whether you care about the Mariners or Julio Rodríguez specifically, he is a very important person in terms of MLB marketing and star creation, particularly out on the West Coast, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. And his season was, while still very good, definitely underwhelming leading up to this streak. And he has almost single-handedly turned around the narrative of his season with this run, which predates this week. Like, it goes back more to the point that Jared was making about 22-7. It extends longer back, but obviously the 16 hits brought it up to the national level. But he's just like, it's great because he's a great personality. He's very important for that team. He's important for baseball. And it was cool to see him we talked about like him catching the outfield ball, like robbing the homer a couple weeks ago, and like him acting all nonchalant about it. And it's just great that he's back kind of in the forefront and that the Mariners are relevant, because I think everybody in baseball is on the same page that they would like to see the Mariners make noise given the lack of a World Series win.
Yeah. So from in a matter of 9 games, you go to August 12th, he was hitting .256. He did not log a hit on that day. Since August 13th, my birthday, you're welcome. He's hitting .524. He's hitting over 500.
He's raised his batting average 30 points since August 30 4th.
Points. That's right. That's kind of where I was heading. It's unbelievable. So Jayhay, in my opinion, he has completely changed the narrative on his season. It's not even a question. It's almost like when we think about what a young player could do, like what does a young player getting hot mean for his club? Does he have the ability? And I'll always, spend a lot of time with Nomar Garciaparra in the clubhouse on the bench, just talking about, what makes up a postseason team? What makes a team competitive if they don't have superstar players, if they don't have, just a laundry list of talent that you can just kind of roll the balls out there and go, look, we're going to take 2 or 3. How does this happen? And so you got to have guys at times, if you're not full from top to bottom, you got to have somebody that can put the team on their back. And Dallas, in this game of baseball, there are very, very few people who can put a baseball team, a lineup, on their back and say, all right, boys, I'm going to go. I just need you to do what you're capable of, but what I'm ready to do right now, what I'm about to do right now, is going to be enough. I just need you to bring your bat and ball to the ballpark too. And that's what this run has represented. You're looking for a guy to come up and get a big hit. You're looking for a guy to put together that extremely, extremely important at bat in the game's most pivotal situation. That's what this dude is doing right now. And the team is responding.
Yep. Yeah. So he not only did he have the record 4 straight 4-hit games, 17 hits in 4 days. And during that span, he had 1 point whatever 4 WAR. He also led the league in steals during that span.
Yeah, what he stole like fucking 10 bags?
6.
8 bags?
I believe it's 6. 6 bags, brother. He's a complete player, I would say.
To that point, just to put it in historical perspective a little bit too, like we're talking, he's 1 home run away now from being the 10th person in Major League Baseball history to go 50-50 through their first 2 seasons. So this isn't a great player in the modern game. This is a potentially great player within the history of baseball.
Overall.
Furthermore, in terms of players to debut in the wild card era, so since 95, he is currently one of only 7 players to produce 10 plus wins above replacement from age 21 to 22. And the others are Trout, Andrew Jones, A-Rod, Carlos Correa, which was a little bit surprising to me, Albert Pujols, and Bryce Harper. So with the possible exception of Correa, the who's who of people who have produced at a young age. And it's great.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you see the J-Rod show maturing into a 30 plus homer guy?
I mean, I think the question is he a 40 homer guy, if I'm being honest, because
well, that's kind of like why I'm asking that conversation, and I'm not putting it at 40 because I mean we're talking year in year out. Is this dude capable of this? That's kind of why I put it at 30 early, Jayhay, because 40 is like that's another level, dude.
So I think
That's
the
another
power
level.
comp now is a fella by the name of Mookie Betts, where you see the player kind of make strides every single year. He's hitting 30 home runs, and then eventually, like Mookie Betts is flirting with 40 this year for the first time in his career. It's a completely different discussion, but it's very interesting how like when we think of driveline, we think of like pitching, but Mookie went to driveline for his hitting and his strength and conditioning and his change in philosophy and all that shit.
But that's not even the conversation. Mookie's not the poster child for that, in my opinion. I mean, he's a great example of look no further than J.P. Crawford. Look no further than what J.P. Crawford has done this season. J.P. Crawford went to driveline and said, I want to hit the ball harder. I guess I need to swing harder. Is that the case? That's the case, JP. Let's figure out how to get you in prime position to attack the baseball. And what is that resulting in? The hardest contact he's ever made over the course of his entire career, setting career high numbers in power. So
same thing with Mookie, though. Mookie's setting.
Oh, I'm not taking anything away from Mookie at all. I'm just saying, like when you say poster child, there's a guy in J.P. Crawford who they were like, buddy, you gotta swing hard, you gotta hit it hard.
J.P. Crawford is a bigger name than Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts might win. Separate discussion because we have Mookie Betts on the docket later down the line. But I'm just saying that's probably the similar trajectory that I see a guy like Julio Rodríguez following is, you start flirting with 30 and then next thing you know, it's like, well, can he do 40? And we're about to answer that question with Mookie for the first time. He's been in the league since 2014. So it's almost been a decade. So it may not be an overnight thing with
and
Julio.
Here's why I'm not more optimistic than Mookie. Here's why I am optimistic about Julio hitting 40 home runs, maybe faster relative to his career than Mookie did, because we're talking about a difference of 4 inches and 50 pounds. And this is just a fundamentally bigger man, not a better hitter, not a better player, but just a bigger dude. And, he hit 28 homers in 132 games last year. And obviously he's not quite at that pace this year, but I think as we've seen with lots of players who are exceptionally athletic in terms of power speed combos, as the speed goes down, oftentimes the power increases, and that's not even necessarily a conscious decision. It's just how baseball players age sometimes. And and so I think maybe 40 is aggressive, but to me, 30 is like a no-brainer. And I think I would expect 35 next season if I guess I'm pumping the brakes a little bit, but I think this is a guy who's built to hit that type of power.
Yeah, just watch the home run derby. Watch the home run derby.
Yeah, that's why I posed the question, because Jayhay, and just like off the top of my head, thinking about a 40 home run guy, that like when I hear 40 homers, there's a dude who I'm like, yeah, this guy, Nelson Cruz. Like when you to your point about the size of a human being, he's just a bigger individual. Like Nelly's a dude who, on average, for a good 5-6 years, was pumping around 40 homers out of the park every year from 14 to 19 or somewhere around there. So bigger dude, hitting more homers, speed, it's not even on Nelly's radar. So I think Julio, yes, 30, 40 would be aggressive. Either way, you put him somewhere in the middle there, and you've got yourselves a fucking superstar.
I think if Mookie hits 40 home runs this year, he'll become the 4th player in baseball history to have a 40 home run season, being 5'9" or shorter.
It's a great stat.
Mm.
Are most of those people like from the period of time where people didn't grow to 6 feet tall?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
All
It's
black
like,
and white photos.
yeah. It's a lot of like Mel Ott and fucking.
You go back and you assume those like 20s and 30s sluggers were like 6'2", 230 or whatever. No, like Mel Ott was like 5'6", $180. You know, like 1,000 OPS,
socking homers. Yeah, he's smoking a pipe in the dugout.
He's malnourished.
Mm-hmm.
One thing on the Mariners, though,
Those
before we depart this conversation, I did a lot less sexy than Julio and the team's winning overall. But we've pointed out the bullpen as a strength a couple of times this year, and it does look like two things with Matt Brash specifically. That he has ironed out the early season inconsistencies that sometimes come with an arm this live, and also that he may be in the position to be saving ball games at this point, because he has 3 saves since August 14th and 4 since August 4th. Whether he's the closer or not, I guess, is not that important, but he has a 2.08 ERA since June 9th with 42 strikeouts and 30 and a third innings. So like that's a potential like 1+ inning weapon out of the bullpen that has just another dynamic option for them that looked a little inconsistent earlier in the season.
Joey, what was the tweet that you had? What was it this morning about their playoff odds basically doubling?
Yeah, 5 days. It went from 30% to 60% in 5 days.
60%.
And if you look,
all right. So before we move on, I want a yes or a no from everyone here. Do the Mariners get in?
Yes. The question is, not to cut everyone off because you might have a different answer. I think they could win the division. I think that's a more likely scenario. Not more likely, obviously, but like that's the kind of the question right now. Just because, like I said earlier, their schedule for the rest of the year is like a cakewalk. It's a lot of Oakland A's, I believe, and a lot of Royals. A lot of Pittsburgh Pirates, perhaps. I'd have to look at it specifically, but I know that their schedule is a lot of cheese puffs.
To that point, though,
the Seattle Mariners.
To Joey's point about winning the division, they actually have better odds to win the division right now than they did at the start of the 2023 season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 30 to 60 is insane, but their playoff odds quadrupled over that same span from like 4%. Now it's like, what is it, like 18, close to 20?
They're more likely to both win
16?
the division and make the playoffs than they were when all the teams were 0-0.
So
I don't
this
know
is
if people
what the
realize
Seattle
this. The Seattle Mariners could be in second place by tonight.
And what they have ahead of them right now is a 4-game series against a 3-game series against the White Sox. And then they have a 3-game series against the Royals. And then they have a 3-game series against the A's. Then they've got a 3-game series against the Mets. Then it's the Reds, the Rays, but they finish with their last 3 series, or their last 4 series, are the A's, the Rangers, the Astros, and the Rangers. So if the Mariners are going to have anything to say about the division, they better speak up at the end of September, because that's when it's going to really, really matter. Because the 2 teams that you're chasing right now are the ones that you're going to be squaring off against at the very end of this dance. So if you want to be the one standing, it's not about the schedule right now. You got to win those ball games leading up to the very end of September, which I appreciate, because in this season where we're going to see divisions, maybe those encounters have already come and gone. The impactful series that you're waiting for at the end of the season in the division that might not be there for you. Well, that's not the case here for the Mariners. If you're going to win the division, the end of September will have everything to do with it.
Yeah, that's why I think we posed that question a couple weeks ago about, of the playoff team that are either in the playoff picture, they're in a playoff spot, or they're hoping to be in one, who has the most exciting schedule down the stretch that could really like make some headlines and be really exciting to watch because of head-to-head competition? The answer to that question is the Seattle Mariners. Like, they are right there, and the teams that they're going to be playing towards the end of the season, those are going to be the teams that they need to beat to get in, and might see again the following week in the postseason. We don't know. We don't know
the fact that those two teams, it's because it's not just the Mariners chasing those guys. It's those two teams in Texas and Houston trying to fend off each other and Seattle. So that's what makes it, all the more interesting. It's all three teams that need to win those ball games. It's not just one team chasing two others.
So, all right, this is a more interesting way to look at things. All year, we were sucking the AL East dick because they had every team was over 500, maybe 4 teams from the AL East make it into the postseason. None of that is true anymore. The Yankees have a losing record. I guess there could still be a way, but probably not at this juncture that 4 teams get in. But you look at the top 3 teams in the AL West, the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners, and you stack those up against the Orioles, the Rays, and the Jays. I think I like the top 3 teams in the West better.
100%.
Better than the Orioles and the Rays and the Jays.
Yeah.
You could sparse this up a few different ways. Like, do you want to start with lineups? Whose lineup do you like better? Texas or Baltimore? Texas or Tampa? Texas or Toronto?
Well, Texas has the best lineup, so them.
Who do you like? Whose overall staff do you like better? Texas's or Baltimore's or Tampa's?
Well, two of those are immediate cuts, right? Immediately eliminate Baltimore and immediately eliminate Tampa.
Baltimore and eliminate Tampa.
You can have a discussion with Toronto and Texas.
And Seattle, as far as I'm concerned, because the front 3 on Seattle can go toe-to-toe with anybody, maybe anybody in baseball at this point, if you prioritize 1, 2, 3, as opposed to is their ace the best or whatever. Because Kirby, Gilbert, Castillo, whatever order you want to put those guys in, are fucking awesome. And they haven't even been carrying this win streak either. Like, those guys didn't really shut the door during this streak, and yet they've been winning in large part because of the offense. Like, if I'm answering Gerrit's question, I'm on the AL West for that conversation now, because I'm still fundamentally skeptical about the Baltimore Orioles' ability to win like 3 to 4 postseason series with that starting rotation. Yeah, I think that's
Hey, Jayhay, I'll tell you this too. I just watched the Baltimore Orioles come into town and post fucking 40 plus knocks, blah, blah, blah. And I understand competition. A's are not what the Orioles are. We can all agree on that.
Agreed.
That lineup is long. I don't know how deep I don't know how deep that lineup is per se, but that lineup is really long. The problem is it feels like if 1 or 2 of those guys goes quiet, 1 or 2 of those guys goes cold, that could be really problematic for that lineup. And I just don't know that they're getting what they need out of their rotation to allow for a potential cold spell or a cold couple days in October for that lineup. That could spell disaster.
Also, I'm just not like that line. The Orioles lineup is good, and obviously they're much better than we thought, et cetera, et cetera. They're probably going to win the division, all that good stuff. Like, to me, I look at that lineup, and that's a lineup you can pitch to in a postseason series with the sort of advanced scouting and preparation that goes into a postseason series. Because everybody has to remember the amount of that sort of scouting specific game plan stuff that occurs in a postseason series is a completely different animal than what they do during the regular season when you can barely catch your breath coming off of the previous series, right? That doesn't mean no preparation is happening, of course. Lots of it is. But to me, like, you look at, okay, so your 2 best players are Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Austin Hayes, Sed Mole.
Ryan
like,
Mountcastle.
Those guys are all people that can be pitched to, no matter how encouraged we are by Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson as like a cornerstone building block tandem for this team. Like, that's not Corey Seager. That's not Marcus Semien. It's just not the same team to me. In terms of pitchability and offense. And I would say the same thing applies to the Astros too. You have multiple people up and down that Astros lineup that, like, how many times do we need to see Yordan do what he does in the postseason, just owning motherfuckers before. It's just a different animal to me. And that doesn't mean that the Orioles can't win postseason series. I just think if this is a conversation, like I feel a lot more confident with where the West stands halfway through August or whatever we are than I do with the East. And that's just how baseball goes. Like I'm surprised to be saying that given where the Rays were halfway through May, right? But these are different rosters than they were at that time.
And what's really disappointing is to think that, and not to pile on Halos fans, I'm so sorry. But could you imagine if the Angels had their shit together too? Could you imagine if the Angels would have benefited from either the moves they tried to make or maybe benefited more by now? Like, what if things worked out for the Angels better than they did now? We'd be having a very different conversation. One that I don't think would even, it wouldn't even be a question that would need to be posed. If the Angels were within 3 or 4 here, it's a very different.
Here's what I like to think of, Dallas, and I know the Angels probably didn't think they were going to catch some strays in this convo. The Angels died so that these other teams, specifically the Mariners, could fly, right?
Could live.
The Angels are 3-10 against AL West opponents since the second half started. So they are doing their part to make sure that their division mates get the job done. That includes 4 losses in 4 games to the Mariners. So,
ouch, babe.
Mm-hmm. What a mistake! I remember getting chastised for saying I think the Angels buying at the deadline, it was a mistake, and it was because they lost to the Braves. And I was like, well, everyone loses to the Braves. The Los Angeles Angels entering play today on Monday have a playoff odds 0.3%. 0.3%.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Well, you know what the takeaway from this entire conversation is, Jared?
Don't try. Give up.
The seamen are coming.
The seamen are coming. But you know what? As much as I hate West Coast trips, I would love to go back to Seattle for a playoff game and be at a game where they score a run. That would be amazing. That would be an amazing experience. We just fucking stood there for 18 innings, just standing there. 18 goddamn innings. And this is before the pitch clock. So we're talking about, I don't know, 7 goddamn hours, Jake?
Yeah, we watch 18 innings and no runs.
It was fucking nuts. It was nuts. I mean, the credit to the fans there in Seattle, like they were into it. It's not like it was a dull crowd. The crowd was buzzing the whole time. They were dying to see a run get scored, but unfortunately, it was Mr. Pena who answered the bell. Like that was it. That's all they needed, and it was sad. So yeah, again, as much as I hate, and we've already been to Seattle this year, but West Coast trips suck. I would love to go back to Seattle for an ALCS.
I'm in
because I think we already have DS plans. Yeah, we'll figure something out. Jayhay, did you have something that stood out?
I'm so glad somebody went positive with Julio and the Mariners because obviously I wanted to go low and negative. To me, we could talk about the Yankees as a whole. Not that interesting to me. It's really more about one man and his failed pursuit of history. Mm-hmm. And it's Gerrit Cole, who, when we talk about the Yankees, it's Cole, it's Judge, it's the 2 pillars in pitching and offense. And we've talked about how Judge has been banged up. But Gerrit Cole, to me, is the more disappointing situation because we are now on 4 starts where he has been within striking distance of the most hallowed record in baseball history and has come up short each and every time. In fact, he came up so short this past time that he went in the negative direction on the all-time list.
I was going to say, is he getting worse?
He was at 30. He was at the line. He could not have been closer. He was at 38.8. Going into the start. And of course, you have to pass the Baines line for us to acknowledge. He shit all over himself in that start, giving up. I mean, the pursuit of, think of all the fucking fans. I know it was in Boston. Think of all the fans that came in looking to see history, okay? And almost before they were in their seats, probably before some of them were in their seats, the chance at history was over. I don't know how much people paid for those tickets.
Gone.
I would have to think that on the secondary market, they were just absolutely outrageous for a potential Baines meter game. But what was it? A grand slam to Luis Urias right off the bat. And now he's at 38.4. He lost 0.4 WAR off of that game. And now I'm like, do I even bring it up the next time Gerrit Cole starts? Or are people tired of waiting for Gerrit Cole to hit the Baines meter? 5.25 ERA over those 4 starts. And like, listen, I'm not a Gerrit Cole fan necessarily, but it is personally disappointing to me when I'm really trying to draw attention to a player's like seminal career achievement. Like, it's never going to get any fucking higher for Gerrit Cole than this. And he just lets me down. I feel personally let down, in addition to all the fans that didn't get to see history for the 4th straight time. So that's my story of the weekend. I think it was obvious. Can't believe we're 40 minutes into this podcast and this is the first time we're talking about it.
Is this do you feel kind of like Roger Maris Jr., just following the circus around, waiting for the big hit to come, waiting for fuck.
I mean, I'm not a douchebag, so I don't feel like Roger Maris
celebrating
Jr.,
my homers.
I do, in the sense that I'm just kind of like breathlessly waiting for something to happen. And like, there was that stretch where Judge wasn't delivering last year on the home run, right? And we all got our butts got a little tight there. So I get it. Like, AL home run record, Baines line. Like, I think we all know which is the bigger accomplishment. And it's been really, really hard to watch as a neutral Yankees fan.
The umpire's back, baby!
Tough scene.
This is a very tough scene. You should have known going into that start that he wasn't going to pass.
I had an ugly feeling.
You said it's been 4?
Yeah, it's 4 starts. It goes back to that Tampa Bay start, which ended up being a fine start, but you can't give up a 2-run homer before the game starts, basically, and expect to cross the Baines line. And they've been early failures too. That's what's so disheartening. It's not like he's giving you 6 scoreless and then maybe Boone leaves him out a little too long and it's like, Gerrit Cole left it all out there or something like that. He's fucking ruining these starts in the first inning. It's so deflating.
Yeah, 4 homers.
I tell my family, like, no, I can't do this day. No, I can't watch my daughter. No, we can't. I can't see you, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry, it's your birthday. It's Gerrit Cole's start. I have to be here, ready to go. And it's like, what a waste of fucking time.
Yankees lose.
Bad. He's a victim of bad vibes, I think. And I think we get the pressure, but the bad vibes of the Yankees ever since the Domingo Germán incident, I believe, was August 3rd.
This guy's got a speech impediment that I just didn't know existed until a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I always get tripped up on Germán. So that's what set that one off. Because I was like, don't pronounce it Germain or German.
Germain?
Germán.
That's not even how it's spelled.
It's pronounced. It's spelled German, dude. And that's not a last name, but Germain isn't.
Right.
People say
Shout out to
People
Jermaine Dupri. But money ain't a thing.
Yes.
Yeah, Jermaine Dupri. Yeah, ATL.
Oh,
I'm talking about Germán. And I might have mispronounced it, but moral story is
crack, holla back. Money. The jab. He's got the top down. What do you think?
Moral story is Garrett's got to do better.
Yeah, he's got to be better. He was really introspective after that start. I thought I'm not going to play the audio. It was like 5.5 minutes, but I did give him credit. I was like, this is a guy that he takes you behind the curtain, even after a bad start. He's letting you know what we did, what we thought we did well, where we went wrong, maybe. And I guess it gives more credit to the Red Sox or whoever is taking him deep that day.
No, it gives credit. It gives credit to Harold Baines because we've shit on him, but now we realize that 38.8 easier said than done because you get up there.
Yeah, you don't just walk right into that.
Cy Young pitcher, and then you get up there and it's you see what happens. Yeah,
brother, it takes some people 22 years to get to 38.8.
It's a tough hurdle. It's impressive that he got there.
You just put that on a tee for him.
38.7 is a lot different than 38.8, as we can see with Mr. Cole. That's all I'm saying.
Smallest gap in sports.
I agree. Yeah. Speaking of waiting around for things, you've waited all year and the time has finally arrived. College football is back. And so are the traditions, the tailgates, and the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Who's the Texas Tech Raiders? Who are they playing, Dallas?
The Texas Tech Red Raiders, Jared. The Texas Tech Red Raiders. And I'm just going to throw this out there right now. If you were looking for an early sleeper on the Natty, I'm just saying you might want to avert those eyes over to West Texas, over to Lubbock. That's right. The Red Raiders. I honestly, I don't know if that's an early Natty call or not. Probably not. Maybe not. It's just be excited about Texas Tech football. That's what I'm saying. Be excited about Texas Tech.
Yeah. Yeah. Get your guns up.
That's
Texas
right.
Tech, baby.
Taking on the Cowboys, Carabas. The Wyoming Cowboys. Going to get lassoed.
Yeah. I didn't even know Wyoming had a college football team, but kick off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. And you know that once we do the weekend storylines, we'll hit you with a little DK message, which means that the baseball is dead parlay is coming to you right now. And it's about time that everyone catches up to me because I'm sick of winning this fucking thing every goddamn week with no support. I'm sick of going out there and throwing 9 shutout innings only to lose in extras because my offense doesn't do anything for me. Is this the week that the baseball is dead parlay hits once again? I don't know. Can't answer that question. Time will tell. But Joe, you're the first leg. What is it?
Oh, well, I was actually going to ask Jake a question, and maybe since we got to get our mojo back, if I'm able to make 2 picks, a parlay within a parlay, perhaps. I think that would be a recipe for success because I got 2 locks for a hit. I got 2 guys. I know we're going to get a hit, but if you combine them both, you get really good odds. But if you, what do you think, Jake? 2 picks for me?
I feel like 5 picks. The reason we moved off that because the odds just go too high.
Fuck! Okay, well, if we get it wrong, then it's your fault, but whatever. Come back to me then. I got to rethink
I'll
some
go.
shit.
I think the easiest way for me to get off the slide that I've been on is to hop aboard the hottest team in Major League Baseball, playing one of the shittiest teams in Major League Baseball. That's right. We're going to do a vibes check here. What's stronger, my losing streak or the Seattle Mariners win streak? Because I'm going with Seattle to win. Luis Castillo against Tuki Toussaint. Mariners to win money line. That's my pick.
Tuki.
Well, hey, you know what, Jayhay? I'm glad you're feeling that because I was also feeling a little bit of those Mariners vibes, but I'm gonna. Oh man, because what I wanted to go with Castillo,
I need this one, Dallas. I need it.
Guardians.
Give it to
me. They were look. I mean, we could play in the same pond here, Jay. We could be building sandcastles together here because I was thinking about the Castillo under on 6.5 punch outs. Why? Because the Guardians they don't punch out. They don't punch out. They struck out the least amount in baseball. So it could be Castillo at -120 taking the under on 6.5 punch outs. I also, what do you got?
My only problem with that is that they're playing the White Sox.
Uh-huh.
I thought you said Guardians.
What? What am I looking at?
The Mariners are playing the White Sox.
See, fuck, I did it again. They are. The Mariners are playing the White Sox. But
what did you do?
It's
I
the
mean,
way
I love
I'm
where your
looking at
head's
the
at,
fucking
but,
the little guy. their face on the fucking thing, and it also has Tukey still wearing a fucking Guardians hat.
This is instilling a great deal
but
of
my
confidence that this is going to be the right one for us.
Yeah, I mean the people that
is
have been
Giolito.
riding the wave of the baseball is dead parlay since its inception are like, this guy doesn't even know what fucking teams are playing, and he's throwing.
Here's
out
your value bet. Here's your value leg for this parlay is Giolito under 6.5 punch outs. That's at plus 130 against the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay,
I like that one so much better.
Okay. The Reds. Where are the Reds in strikeout percentage?
They don't punch out as much as the Guardians. Or excuse me, the Guardians.
When did Ellie De La Cruz get called up?
Cincinnati offense has the 7th highest strikeout rate in MLB right now at 24.2%.
Oh. When did he get called up, Ellie De La Cruz?
May.
Was it really May? Is my life going that quickly?
Way. No,
It was
way.
not
No,
May.
June
Made his
6th.
big league
June.
debut on June 6th.
Oh, 6 days off. My fucking bad. Oh, idiot.
Hey.
June 6th.
As we've just found out with the Seattle Mariners, Joey, 6 days can make a big difference.
You could. If they would have
they
called
sure
him 6
can.
days earlier, he'd probably be in first right now, or at least in a playoff spot. That's just, I don't bring up old shit, but
Since Ellie De La Cruz got called up, the Cincinnati Reds have the 7th highest strikeout percentage in baseball. 24.5.
Which is exactly what it is over the course of the season. So there you go.
There you go. So that's Dallas's leg, Jayhay's leg. Joseph, do you have one?
I'm just going to have to go with the Braves money line because they're playing the Mets.
Love it.
And let's be honest, guys. We got Alan Winans at the mound. You may not have heard of this guy, okay? But he actually is on a revenge tour against the Mets, who let him go to the Braves for like $10 or something, and he already diced him up once, so he's going after him again. So the guy with not a lot of experience probably getting better odds because of that. So Braves money line, even if he does bad, they'll win. So Braves.
Okay.
But wait, before we move on, what I would have gone with would be a Matt Olson hit and Austin Riley hit combined. So if that hits and I'm wrong, I get a pass. I'm coming for your ass, Jake. And I actually, So I'm just getting that on paper.
Okay. I'm going to be also floating around in that Braves-Mets game, but I'm not going Matty O. I'm not going Austin Riley. David Peterson is starting for the Mets tonight. Lefty, 5.45 ERA. You know who's 4th in Major League Baseball in slugging percentage against lefties this year, Joe?
Can you say that one more time? You were a little laggy.
4th in the big leagues in slugging percentage against lefties this year.
Who is it? I would say, would that be Sean Murphy?
Orlando Arcia. 2+ total bases for me, please and thank you.
Let's go. Underrated player.
Very underrated player. Very underrated player. And I'll make this the next topic. I know maybe you guys would have liked to have prepared a little bit more in terms of statistical analysis. I know maybe more so on Jayhay's side of things. But Friday night, I was sitting there with one of my buddies, big baseball fan. We started having a discussion watching the Cubs game, and we had the debate about who, if you were to start a team right now, contracts considered, who would you rather have, Francisco Lindor or Dansby Swanson?
I saw that tweet.
I put it to a poll. Who do you think won the poll?
I bet Swanson won.
Dansby Swanson.
Dansby Swanson, 60% won the poll over Francisco Lindor, who I think the ultimate takeaway from that is that, well, there's 2 takeaways. One, Dansby Swanson is finally being appreciated for the above average player that he is. And two, I think Francisco Lindor has become a very underrated player now because he's also, I think he's like 5 wins above replacement right now. Like people were writing him off like he was a slapdick now.
I couldn't agree more with that characterization of both guys' situations. Because if people have gotten off the Francisco Lindor train, that's their own problem. And to me, that is more a function of the chaos or disappointment surrounding the Mets than it is anything to do with Francisco Lindor. I think this is an excellent question, and I think either side would be justifiable as an answer. But I think people need to understand that Francisco Lindor, regardless of which wins above replacement that you look at, has been a top 6 player in the NL this season. And, you know, this is something like the 7th season in 8 that he has been approximately that good. And they're the exact same age, both in their age 29 season. They're putting up, you know, they're both elite defensive players. I think the consensus is that Swanson has passed Lindor in that regard, but we're talking about 2 of the 3 or 4 best defensive shortstops in baseball presently. I think it's a great question, and I honestly believe that you could go either way. And I think that's a testament to how well the Swanson contract looks like it's going right now, as opposed to a condemnation of where Francisco Lindor sits as a baseball player.
Yeah, I think it was very funny reading some of the replies were that most of them were prefaced by people saying, obviously it's Dansby Swanson. Obviously it's Francisco Lindor. Like to whoever feels like super passionate about it, the answer was very obvious to them. But to Jayhay's point, yeah, I think you can make an argument for either guy. But those are my takeaways, was that people are finally appreciating how good Dansby Swanson is. He's not, because when you think of Dansby Swanson, maybe if you're a more casual fan on that side of things, you're going to remember him as a complimentary piece to the Atlanta Braves World Series championship team. Like he wasn't the guy, and he wasn't the second guy either. Like there were other guys that would have been more in line to be the face of that franchise. And that's not even to say that he's the face of the franchise with the Cubs either. But he's a very, very good player who I think statistically outperforms the perception of who he is as a player. And then you have Francisco Lindor, and perhaps it's because of the size of the contract that he signed, the fact that it's a big market with the Mets, who is very much in the conversation for the most underappreciated player, underrated player in baseball right now.
And here's the other thing too, is like you touched on it, like the Cubs are a feel-good story right now too. So everybody's feeling great about Dansby. It's like the exact opposite of the Mets situation. And I think, you know, Lindor's reputation early on was carried in part by the fact that he was hitting 30 plus home runs a season, right? So you could easily see where his offensive production and his overall production was coming from. He's now settled into a point where not only is the overall offense in baseball like a little bit off from where it was 4 or 5 years ago, but a larger percentage of his value is tied up in defense now. And a player and just like Swanson, it can be very difficult to appreciate that type of player unless you are a fan of the team and tuning in every single day to see that player play shortstop and do it at the quality that he does. Like I just want to take a step back, because it's very clear that Francisco Lindor's prolonged greatness has overshadowed what he's doing in the present, and people are just taking him for granted. Like we're talking about a guy since when he debuted in 2015 is 3rd in Major League Baseball in wins above replacement. The only people ahead of him are Mike Trout and Mookie Betts. The only people ahead of him are Mike Trout and Mookie Betts, who are kind of on their own level over that stretch of time. And that next tier down is Lindor, Freeman, Arenado, and Joe Ram. Francisco Lindor is still a great player, and we're going to be talking about whether Francisco Lindor should be a Hall of Fame player in 10 or 15 years. But as of right now, like, do you want a little more offense or do you want a little bit more defense? And I think that's the question when it comes to Swanson versus Lindor.
Yeah,
Dallas,
also,
who would
but
you
also
have voted for?
Yeah, what would you do? Vote for Dallas?
Voted for what? Who am I taking here between these two?
Yes.
I've always just like, and it's just a small little detail. Like, I love the fact that Francisco Lindor is a switch hitter. I don't know why I've always weighted that. Like, it's almost for me like he provides 2 players type of deal. Like, and that's not the case. He's not out there pitching. But to Jayhay's point about wanting more offense or wanting more defense, I think Francisco Lindor provides you the better happy medium of the two. Offense, defense combination. He's got a couple silver sluggers under his belt. He's a Gold Glove caliber defender as well.
And to your point about the switch hitting, he does so without a platoon split too.
Well, that's why that's why it matters to me, is because I know what it requires. I know what it means to have a dude like that you put into the lineup, and that you like. There's, I'm telling you right now, man. You ask a big league manager what he's looking for as far as offense and 2, 3, 4, someone that he can put in that spot in the lineup. He wants somebody that he can just rely on, that I can just pencil in and not even have to think twice about. So it gives the manager a break when he's looking at the lineup and it's the 5th inning, 6th inning, and he's game planning for the 8th inning, and it's Francisco Lindor sitting right there. He can move just beyond that and start to look at what the rest of the game unfolds as, because he doesn't have to worry about plugging somebody in for Lindor. And on the flip side of that coin, it makes it tougher for the opposing managers to look at how they're going to attack your lineup when you've got a guy like Lindor planted in the middle, that they have to start thinking about matchups. Again, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. He just makes that much more difficult by being a guy that you can write his name in April, and we'll see you in September.
That's kind of why I ride with Lindor too, just because these guys are signed for so long. They're kind of signed until they're like 35, 30s, like mid to late 30s. And like both of them are relying a lot on their defense to have like these good seasons with high wars. And that's, I feel like when you get older as a shortstop, that's going to get less and less. So if you compare the two based on offense, Lindor, I would say you got to go Lindor. Just because.
Well, what did Jayhay talk about earlier in our conversation with the speed power combo? Which one wanes first, and then what starts to get replenished? The speed goes away. You get a little stronger. You grow into some of that, elder statesman strength, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's coming from Lindor from both sides of the plate, that will always matter to me.
It's kind of sticking kind of like with the subject of the Mets. It's kind of old news at this point, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it over the weekend. The Pete Alonso thing, throwing the ball into the stands. I was getting crushed for saying I didn't think he did it on purpose.
So was I. I said, is he the most relatable? Is he the most relatable big leaguer in baseball? Just because we've never been there. None of you guys have ever done something like that where you're like, why did you just do that? Dude, you know what? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Fuck, I have no idea. That was all on me. And this is what I said. Do you think Pete Alonso, if you believe he did it unintentionally, you believe he did it on purpose, what you're telling me is that Pete Alonso cared more and was so in tune with the fact that this was this dude's big league debut and it was his first big league hit, that Pete Alonso was waiting for that, outside of paying attention to the game situation and what he wanted to do with the ball when it came to him. And he put all that on the back burner and was like, It's his
ball
debut.
Comes to me,
it's his first hit. If it comes to me, I'm sending this bitch into the third deck.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me Pete Alonso was thinking about in that moment. Right. And I just can't
what
believe
motivation would Pete Alonso have to do that?
To do that.
I know.
Yeah,
right.
I know what it is.
What?
The first base coach on the Cardinals was pulling on his ass when they were in that brawl last year. Remember that? I got clips. The first base coach for the Cardinals, when they fought, because the Mets were getting hit too many times. And I was saying, why don't you dodge it? And, the Mets are being idiots. And guess what?
Oh, yeah.
They
Dodge it. Dodge the ball.
They fought the Cardinals, and there's a clip of the first base coach on the Cardinals, pulling Pete on his ass, hugging him. And then remember, Pete had the post-game interview, I could wreck any of these guys if I wanted to. Stop pulling at me or something like that.
And then for the people to take, again, you're looking for ways to spin it into him being an asshole about this. because what did he like? He told you how bad he felt, how terrible he felt about it. He was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to think of something that I could do for him, like, so he bought him a fucking beautiful bottle of tequila, signed a bat to him, like apologizing, like, dude, my bad, like, good luck. Well, it wasn't because we know of other instances where players have allowed their ego to get in the way and they've signed memorabilia, handing it to players thinking, oh, yeah, here you go. I know my autograph is exactly what you want right now. Like, to hell with being able to use the bat to hit in the cage. Here, I want to sign it for you because this is what you wanted, right? Actually, bro, I just wanted some bats to take fucking BP with. But, yeah, your ego, I'm surprised you can even hit in the cage with your fucking ego all over you. Yeah, that's real. So that happened. So Pete.
That was confirmed.
Pete went, you know what? Record. Yes, confirmed off the record. So Pete says, here's a great bottle of tequila, dude. That is on me. My bad. Here's a bat that I just want to kind of personalize. Like, dude, sorry about it. You're going to go on to have a great, like, and people were looking at that and going, yeah, I don't know. Still an asshole. Like, I don't know. It's not coming from a place of, he doesn't care. Go fuck yourself.
I don't blame him because that's hilarious to actually, like, let's say he did do that. How funny is that to act? Like, I want in my head believe that Alonso was like, fuck this guy, got the ball and just chucked it, dude. That is awesome. But yeah, I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. The vast majority of people tweeting at me were that he did it on purpose. And I'm just thinking to myself, how much of a malicious, mean-spirited person do you have to be to do that? It's the kids. Like, he had his first big league hit. Like, he knows like how cool that moment is and how hard it is to get to the big leagues. Like, he has all that perspective. You think that he, like, no matter what rivalry or fight ever existed, let's say it is between Pete Alonso and the St. Louis Cardinals or whatever, like, he's not going to do something like that to a kid that just fought his way to get to the big leagues and like his family's there. Like, that is crazy. Like, that is the most asshole thing that I can think of that isn't like a crime that a player could be able to do. And then the other thing too, I think if he did do it on purpose, he deserves an award for this acting performance that he did after the game.
Yeah, that apology. Like I don't know. I don't know if people who are going through like major crises.
I feel awful. I didn't mean to. I didn't. I know it sounds stupid, but it is just a bad brain fart. I know throwing the ball in the stands that robs him of a kind of a really special moment. But I feel really bad thinking back on my first hit and just getting the ball thrown back to the dugout. I feel awful. I feel like a piece of crap. It's just in the heat of the moment, you kind of just get lost. I just kind of got up from trying to make a play, and then umpire said, "Hey, we're going to switch this ball out." So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to do what I always do, like I always throw the ball in the stands, but I'll never throw the ball in the stands again. I'm just going to roll every ball to the dugout when they're going to switch it out. But that's a really bad mistake, and it's completely unintentional. I feel horrible about it. I feel really bad. And, I apologized. Like, I apologized to him when I was at second after the force out. And then, I'm really sorry. And I'm going to try and talk to him and, get him something for tomorrow as an apology. Cause like it's stupid. It's a really bad look. And I feel like an idiot, and I feel terrible. I feel really bad.
I mean, you're going to tell me that guy did that on purpose?
What is the point of doing it on purpose to be a dickhead and to get back at the Cardinals or whatever the reason is, and then issuing that comment? There's no, if you're going to be a badass, be a badass. Otherwise, he just sounds like a pussy. If he did it on purpose and then issues that comment, that's just stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You can't hang around the boys later.
Yeah, I got him good, didn't I? Didn't I get him good?
No. And
you had your tail between your legs in front of the reporters. You look like a dick.
Yeah. You fucking laid down in the post-game interview. So no, you're getting no love for that.
If he really cared, and he obviously did on purpose, if he really cared, he would have given that kid, Pete's would have given his first hit to the kid and said, "This makes up for it." That's what I would have done.
Yeah, there are people that were like, "Well, why was he not Why was he not making a post on social media demanding that the team go get the ball back? And it's like, dude, I feel like that probably happened.
Yeah.
You didn't see the post from Pete Alonso, but I'm sure team officials were already in the works getting that taken care of. Like, just stop it.
I read they got the ball back. However, to stick up for the guy saying he did it on purpose. Like I said, it is hilarious to think he did it on purpose. So I like that you think that, because it would be really funny if he did that. Also, he did wave the ball around like he knew, kind of. And that made it seem like,
well, no, that's what you're doing is
ask the pitcher if he wants the ball back.
Yeah.
No.
The umpire.
You are signifying to everybody on the field, hey, this one's done. It's gone. That's what that means. Anytime you see somebody grab a baseball and just shake it like that a few times back and forth, that's them telling everybody on the field, this one's out of here. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You watch games. Balls get hit like a ground ball gets hit, right? And it gets topped, which means it catches dirt at home plate, and then it might catch the dirt again at shortstop, fielded, thrown over to first base. That ball gets thrown out because it just hit the dirt twice, left 2 scuff marks. If the throw gets short hopped, that's 3 times in one play that this baseball has hit the dirt. That's why guys want that shit out of there. So you make the play at the end, blah, 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 shake the hand, and you fucking huck it. Pete Alonso just happens to chuck these balls into the second deck.
Or maybe he got the ball. He got the ball, and the first base coach, who he already has problems with, was like, Pete, give us the ball, get the ball. And he said, oh, this ball? Yeet.
Oh, you want this ball? You want this one?
Yeah.
Is this the ball you want? This one right here? Whoa.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Pete's a sly guy. I respect it. I respect Pete a lot more now after he took that moment away from that kid. Yeah, welcome to the big leagues. Welcome to the big leagues.
You're a bad person. But the playoffs are just around the corner, so it's time to help your team out by sticking to your lucky rituals, like the ritual of enjoying an ice-cold Blue Moon while the game is on. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition, whether you're at the park or watching from home. I actually enjoyed quite a few Blue Moons over the past weekend, sitting down, watching a lot of baseball.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I had one.
Quite a few, didn't you?
I did on
quite a few
Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I did. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Brighten up your baseball traditions with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. As we mentioned earlier in the show, the Mookie Betts discussion, I feel like we were just scratching the surface on what we were able to talk about with Mookie Betts, because I feel like, in the MVP discussion, did anyone pick Mookie Betts before the season started?
No, I don't think so. I have no idea.
I mean, we went Trey Turner.
I got to be honest. This baseball season has fucking numbed me. I'm just kind of here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think. Well, Trey Turner's making a late push for that National League MVP. Yeah. I'll be honest. That looked like a bad pick for a little bit, but 2 homers.
No.
Over the weekend.
It's a terrible pick. He's not going to register a single MVP vote. That counts as a bad pick.
No. It could have been worse.
You could have picked Javier Baez for AL MVP. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been much worse. But I don't want to say he's salvaging his season, but he's definitely bringing it back from the dead. Like, I don't think
the story there is how incredible it is to get the love that he got from the fans, and the fact that he's answered that and has just continued to be like, you know what, dude, I appreciate that. That helped a lot. You guys could have buried me, and I was still not going to get any MVP votes, but you didn't bury me. You showed me some love. I've responded. Don't know if I'll get any MVP votes, but isn't this a much better relationship? Isn't this a much better existence?
Yeah, like
that's how we do it up here in Philly, man.
Yeah, you got Phil's fans top notch. They've
gone from throwing batteries to throwing bro hugs. I love it.
That's like the polar opposite of Yankee fans, where the year that Judgy hits 62 bombs and that he struggles a little bit in the postseason, they boo him off the field and the Yankees get swept by the Astros. Here you have the Phillies who are like, hey, listen, we've got a real chance here to get back into the postseason. We have a special group. And the guy that we just gave $300 million to, he's struggling. Let's show him some love. They did it, and he's been outstanding ever since. I mean, I think that they realized that, hey, Trey Turner, it's year one of, what did he sign for? 11 years? 10 years?
A long time.
At least a decade. They show him some love.
11,
he
300.
turns his season around. 300. Well, either way, Mookie Betts may be having his second best season. I don't think he'll ever be able to top 2018. Not just because they won the World Series, but I think it was like a north of a 10-win season. What is he on pace for right now? Marcus Lynn Betts.
He's got like 6 wins. He's a 6-win player.
I mean,
right
he leads Major League Baseball among position players in whichever war you want to use. Like I can't recall an instance where the MVP seemed to be over in the minds of voters so early, and yet it is so much of a discussion to be had. Like, I know we did the Freeman thing, and then some people wanted to put forth Matt Olson as a candidate. Like, to me, somebody needs to explain to me why Ronald Acuna is a heavy favorite over Mookie Betts at this point, because to me, it comes down to the only thing that Ronald Acuna has at this point is stolen bases. That's not to say that's the only category he leads in, but that's the only major differential between the two players. Like Betts has a higher OPS at this point. He leads in F-WAR and B-WAR. Like this isn't to denigrate Acuna, who's putting up a season that we're all going to remember for a long time, but like it felt baked into the calculus, and it just isn't. It just isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what happened last year with Shohei and Judge, where it was like they were kind of close and there was arguments, but the odds were like minus 1,100 for Judge. But I mean, I think I think that what's really happening is that like in the minds of fans and people and writers, it's like a stolen base is so much more valuable to them than whatever WAR is calculating. Like, it doesn't make sense to me how Acuna doesn't have
bases.
Yeah, but I think it should be. I don't know. I'm not going to argue WAR because obviously I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the actual calculation or applying that to a replacement player and what value is. It's crazy. But like 40, 50 steals already. And I watch Acuna every day and like I can see how much of those steals turn in the runs when they wouldn't and scoring from first to home and shit. Like it just seems like that should put when they have the offensive numbers so close plus 50 more steals than the next guy. I think he should have more WAR. So
I think the quick explanation, without getting into the nitty gritty of WAR, is that the threshold on stolen base success rate for you to be a net positive to your team is like 80%. You have to steal bases at an 80% clip to have a net positive gain for your team on base running. If you're stealing bases at a 70% clip, you are more than likely costing your team runs in the 30% that you get thrown out, in terms of like the run expectancy matrix. So I think, is Acuna 56 for 66? Is that what it is?
He's got 56 steals.
How many caught stealings? Sorry.
Put it this way. Ronald Acuna Jr. has 48 more stolen bases than Mookie Betts. That has turned into scoring 11 more runs than Mookie Betts.
Also, he has fewer home runs. So like, if we're talking about like how many total bases are you contributing towards the thing? Yes, 40 extra stolen bases or whatever it is great. A lot of that is cut into if you're
Ronald
giving
Acuna has
6 home runs back.
He has 8 more total bases.
Yeah, there you go.
Betts. So that does anything for you. Matt Olson has 1 less than Ronald Acuna Jr.
But steals aren't in total bases.
No. But I'm saying, right. I understand that. What I'm saying is that if you're giving away 6 home runs, which is 24 total bases, then whatever number we're adding with an additional 40 bags disappears pretty quickly. in terms of the value that you're adding to your team. And by the way, Acuna's stealing a clip at 85%, so he is a net positive on the base paths. But like right now, I just looked it up on. This is more to the point. It's not that one of these players is having a substantially better season than the other. It's that I feel like the conversation was already over when it shouldn't be. Acuna's still minus 400 to win the NL MVP on, I just looked at DraftKings for obvious reasons, and Mookie's at plus 900. That's a ridiculous gap. If we're talking, like, I know gambling is about like, not necessarily like equitable in that, and they have to like hedge their bets based on money that's already been bet. But to me, like, that's a crazy gap in odds for what has essentially been equally valuable seasons for teams that are essentially like, you can't do a team success argument for either one of them over the other either, because they're the two most successful teams in baseball right now. And the other twist is that they both have guys on their own team that could potentially cannibalize X percentage of their votes. Like, I don't think Matt Olson is an MVP candidate really, but there are going to be some semblance of people who vote for him if he ends up leading the NL in home runs, right?
Definitely a candidate.
I mean, he's like 6th or 7th on the list. I don't think that he belongs in the
if he hits 60 home runs and wins a Gold Glove at first base,
he's not even the best first baseman in his league. I mean, like, what number are we looking at that has Matt Olson over Freddie Freeman other than home runs?
Well, I'm saying from like a defensive perspective.
All I'm saying is that if you're not the best player at your own position and you're not the best player on your own team, what is your MVP candidacy?
I'm not saying he should win.
No, he'll get 4th or 5th or something like that, and he will get votes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, to me, Matt Olson is a closer comp for like the season that Francisco Lindor is contributing than he is Mookie Betts or Ronald Acuna or Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Lindor.
I think the most interesting point that you made there is that you're going to have a dogfight for the National League MVP award now between Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mookie Betts, and their biggest competition is their own teammates. Like, Freddie Freeman is having a far greater season than I think a lot of people realize, because he's older and he's on a team with Mookie Betts. There are guys, and the same thing with Matt Olson. People know that Matt Olson hits home runs, but he's also having an MVP caliber season. But he's on the same team as a dude that's going to go fucking 30-60 this year.
Also, I just want to point out, if Matt Olson wins a fucking Gold Glove, burn the award. Burn the award. What is that about?
What do you mean?
He's not a good defensive
He's
first
won a
baseman.
platinum glove.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He has not contributed.
Stop.
Hey,
You're going to
brother,
embarrass yourself.
What do you want to tell me? I don't care what he won last year. I don't
Jesus
care.
Christ.
What does that have to do with this year? That's the
Okay.
whole problem
All right,
with
well,
the
then
Gold
what?
Glove
Then
Awards
DH
anyway. Is
then
that,
DH
the guy
because he
won
has
5 years
he
ago,
has
so let's
no
just give him the
service at
Gold Glove
first base.
forever. He's had a below average defensive season.
Stop it.
Okay.
You just called a platinum glover a
No.
terrible
Okay, I
defender.
shouldn't have said that. I should say that he's not having a Gold Glove caliber defensive season this year, which is what matters. I don't give a fuck.
Better.
Hey,
much better than calling him a
is
terrible
Aaron Judge going to
defender.
win the MVP
Much
again
better
this
than
year because
calling
he
him
won
a
the
bad
MVP
defender.
last year? Is that how that works? No, it's not.
No, let's talk about it. Gold Glove, though. Is he going to win the Gold Glove this year?
He should not win the Gold Glove by any standard applied to first base defense this year.
And
that's
fair.
That's fine.
What's not
That's
fair?
fine. So
not okay. What's
wait,
not
wait.
fair is you to go, but I also want to sneak in him being a bad defender too. He's a bad defender.
Okay.
No, you don't get to say that part. You can say he's not going to win a
Jared
Gold Glove
used
this
him
year,
possibly
but
winning
the
a Gold
Gloves
Glove as
preceding
the reason
this year
why he's an
and
MVP
the
candidate.
Platinum Glove,
And what I'm telling you is he has no business winning a Gold Glove this year. So if that's the case, what is his MVP candidacy about? It's about the hypothetical
I just
60
jumped in
home
when you
runs.
called him a bad defender.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what got Aaron Judge
No.
the award last year over
Hold on.
Shohei Ohtani.
Stop.
Yes, it is.
I will
Yes,
not
it
allow
is.
anybody on this podcast to disrespect Aaron Judge's 2022 by comparing it to what Matt Olson is doing this year.
No. Yes or no?
Well,
if Aaron Judge hits 59 home runs last year, does
No,
Shohei
I think
Ohtani win
Aaron
the
Judge
MVP?
still wins the MVP because it wasn't really that
No
close of a
chance.
vote.
No
Yes.
chance. If Judge doesn't break the home run record, Shohei Ohtani
A
wins
lot
the
of those
MVP.
votes were already
Hands
in
down.
at the time that Aaron Judge broke the record.
No, it was in pursuit of that record. That's what everybody was beating the drum for. This is why we're going to vote for him, because this is going to happen.
It was also because he put up one of the 10 greatest offensive seasons of our
then
lifetime.
what-
Matt Olson isn't putting up the best offensive
Possibly the
season
greatest.
of a first baseman this year.
But he's not a bad
Cool.
defender. And
Cool.
that's
He's
where
having a below average defensive season this year.
That's where I jumped
by
in.
either his standards or the standards of Major League Baseball, because I'm looking at them right now and he's not having a good defensive season. I'm sorry if that's offensive. He's just not.
No,
All right,
that's
so then
not
it's-
offensive at all.
All right, so hold on. If the season ended today and you have a
Yes.
vote, Jayhay, are you going Mookie Betts or are you going Ronald
I'm probably
Acuna
still
Jr.?
going Ronald Acuna Jr.
Okay. Why?
I don't have a great reason. I don't have a great reason why I would choose one over the other at this point.
Who's creating more runs?
I think at the end of the day, I still am a little bit more. I still think the overall shape of Ronald Acuna's season is a little bit more impressive. But I think it's close enough now where we really need to pay attention to the final 5 weeks of the season to determine who the MVP should be.
Yeah.
And I want
let's
Freeman
ask
in that
this- let's ask
conversation
this
as well.
question.
I'm not dismissing Freeman.
What makes it more interesting is they're both on teams that are a
For
lock
sure.
to make the postseason.
They have like
today.
a similar narrative.
Like, there's
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
So
like,
does
there's-
Mookie does Mookie moving around defensively? Because remember, it was Aaron Judge's defense being touted in center field. That was another big part of the narrative for the MVP. He's going to hit 60 plus homers. He's playing Gold Glove caliber center field defense. So how does that not get him the MVP? Mookie Betts has moved from the outfield. He's playing infield at times for the Dodgers just to keep things open, just to keep Dave Roberts full of options. So is that going to be factored in? And it's almost like, do we take that part of the conversation for Mookie and pit that against what Ronnie has been doing on the base path? Because you can almost say the value of being able to move around defensively to an extent can almost meet what Ronald Acuna Jr. is doing, creating runs by stealing bases at the clip he's stealing. So that's where it becomes a, what are you prioritizing as a voter more? Do you like the fact that Mookie's been doing what he's doing defensively on top of the offensive responsibilities? Or in a year where we have spurred along the offense and tried to create more offense via the stolen base, we've watched Ronald Acuna Jr. answer that bell to the extent he has, because that is the separating factor right now in runs created between Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mookie Betts. The stolen bases rear their head in that conversation.
That's what's interesting is I would like to know, with Mookie changing positions, my inclination is to think if you're looking at WAR, that might hurt him.
That affects it.
It probably hurts him a little bit because he's probably not, a freaking plus shortstop. I could be wrong. But what
Second
does?
base.
Yeah, but he's playing short too, isn't he?
He's played
short.
I want to say he's played there a few times. Yeah.
So he's played short and second. I'm guessing that might actually hurt his WAR just because he's, probably not a freaking Dansby, Swanson, Lindor type. But like, if you're looking at a guy like that's impressive as fuck, like that should help him. I don't know.
Yeah.
What WAR is doing with that.
I think
Jayhay, what is WAR
I think to
doing with
Dallas's point, I think that's a point well taken, because it speaks to the idea that Mookie Betts' candidacy is a little bit more nuanced than Ronald Acuna's, right? And that everything about Ronald Acuna's candidacy slaps you in the fucking face, right? He's going to go 30-60. He's hitting 330. His on-base percentage is 400, whatever it is. He's got all the counting stats that you could want, and he does it with a lot of flair. Mookie Betts, he's not stealing the bases, but he's a more valuable defensive player, more diverse defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
He is not the base stealer that Ronald Acuna is, obviously, but if we're talking about base running, I would say that Mookie Betts is an elite base runner. That sort of stuff, and not making mistakes base running as well. But I think Dallas is right. And to Joey's point about whether that's impacting him, listen, this is just one defensive metric, but we have to go with what we have. But his numbers at second base defensively this season have been outstanding. In 297 innings, he's +6 defensive runs saved, which is fucking crazy.
Yep. Solid. Well, and Jay, how about this? Like the production, what I'm about to rattle off for you folks is the production at each position that he has played this season. So at second base, he's played 39 games, 306 average, 392 on base, slugging 576 with a 968 OPS and a 167 OPS plus. As a shortstop, he's hitting 304, and this is just in 14 games, but he's hitting 304, 365 on base, 674 slug for a 1,039 OPS, a 183 OPS plus. And as a right fielder in 78 games, 290, 398 on base, 590 slug, 988 OPS, and a 161 OPS plus. So where he's playing hasn't really mattered. It's just a matter of having Mookie Betts on the baseball field. And that is a great argument for Mookie Betts and his candidacy in the MVP conversation, because Ronnie gets to go out and play one spot and maybe DH, where Mookie is being asked to play three, in my opinion, because right field and there's 2.5 premium defensive positions, second base and shortstop.
Well, I have a sabermetrics question. if he's like +6 outs above average at second, and he's played a little short, and he's playing right field, why is his defensive WAR minus or 0.7? His 0.7 defensive WAR, because it seems low, very low.
Well, that's where the algorithm and the other players on his team and their right, like that's where that starts to factor in.
I don't feel comfortable answering that question without looking into it more. Not to escape the question, but I think that requires a level of detail that I'm not prepared to provide at this point.
Well, that's why I'm saying it, because this type of shit just makes my brain go in circles I can't grasp. And it's really hard.
That's why I said I think other players on the roster and their productivity starts to impact the equation, starts to impact the answer you're looking for there, Joe.
Yeah, and it's the same thing what happened to Shohei last year, where like you see him do this thing at hitting and pitching, and his defensive WAR is punishing him so much, and you're like, it has to make up for it somehow. And then you look into it, and it's like, kind of makes sense.
Just ask ourselves right now, like, just baseball mind. Take your numbers and the analytics and the evaluation of the game in that way. Take that out of the equation. All right, we're fielding a baseball team. What do you like? Do you like a guy that you could play at shortstop, second base, and the outfield, all three positions? Does that guy bring a certain amount of value to you more so than a guy that can only play one position? Or I guess you could say three, because you could put Ronnie in any outfield spot. So what means more to you? What do you like more? What becomes more attractive? If we're picking players and across the board offensively, you're essentially the same. One guy can steal fucking 50 more bags than the other dude, but ultimately the other guy, you could put him anywhere in the infield, anywhere in the outfield, and no offensive production wanes at all. You get the same dude every day.
And I know it seems like we're taking sides on this because you kind of have to in a debate, but like, to me, the main takeaway here is that we are in for a potential incredible treat as baseball fans over the final 5 weeks of this season in terms of the NL MVP race, because like it's extremely close. And I think it's going to require the rest of the season to determine that. And one more thing to go back to the Olson thing as a candidate. I understand that home runs are important. Matt Olson's OPS is lower than Mookie Betts. So we're talking about a guy who plays all over the diamond, including a really, really good outfield generally in most seasons, versus a first baseman. Like there is no way for Matt Olson to overcome the fact that a outfielder / second baseman has a higher OPS than he does.
Yeah, no, I mean, to that point of the conversation, you're talking about a guy who's very limited in one area of his game.
It's really hard
right?
for a first baseman to win the MVP. It just is.
Which is, and when you think about the reasons why, because you're valuing other defensive potential from the other players, that's why when we start to have the conversation about who Shohei Ohtani is in this game of baseball, you right now are valuing a guy's ability to play right field and second base. Big league ball players look at a guy who can go and dial up 9 shutout innings and then hit 2 homers in the same fucking day like he's an alien, because nobody thinks about doing shit like that. And that's what Shohei Ohtani has done for 3 straight.
That's so fucking
years.
funny.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win it. I think he's gonna win it over all these guys.
Just think about that. Think about that. Why do we like these guys? Because he can play a couple more positions and he might steal some more bags. What if I told you could run a guy out there and win a Cy Young and an MVP? Same player.
I
You
love
interested in that?
the different ways that we just organically come to talk about Shohei Ohtani.
Get back to
because
Showtime.
like each one, every time we do it, I'm like, that's so eye-opening. Every time, because we're talking about a guy whose offense is as good as any individual player in baseball right now, right? Betts, Acuna, Olson, doesn't matter the position. And he's also one of the 10 best pitchers in Major League Baseball. It's just fucking crazy. Imagine if Matt Olson was pitching.
It's lovely.
It's like if Matt Olson was like, fuck Max Fried, I'm the ace of this team.
Yeah, I
That's
got this
Shohei.
shit. I got it. Maxie, sit down. Yeah, you're damn
And
right.
Shohei's OPS
Jayhay.
is 90
Damn
points
right
higher
it is.
than Olson's. It's fucking crazy.
It's probably
What is Shohei's OPS right now?
1,000.
It is.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
north of 1,000.
It's 1.070 and Olson's is 981. So it's I said 90 points higher. It's 89 points higher.
Shohei's OPS is over
Yes, it's
1,000.
1.070. It is
Jesus Christ.
It's, only Seager, Ohtani, and Judge are the only people with an OPS over 1,000. And Ohtani has almost as many plate appearances as those two people combined. So he's the only one doing it over a full
I'm going to
season.
tell you right now. In the clubhouse for a lot of years, right? You put together these pools, the golf pools, tournament pools, and you're picking players. But part of the mechanics of joining these pools were tigerless pools. Meaning you can pick whatever golfers you want, okay? Throw them together however you want. But there's one guy you can't pick. You can't pick Tiger. So nobody got to pick Tiger Woods. Why? Well, for obvious reasons. Because everybody's going to pick that. So you overlook him in those conversations now, right? Like, no, we're not going to talk about Tiger. That's where Ohtani is at in my mind right now. When we start having conversations about the greatest players, it's like, all right, well, we know we can talk about Ohtani and why we can talk about him and what he does. But is there a lower tier of player that we can have the conversation about? It feels like that's where the real conversation starts. And in my mind, everybody else not named Ohtani is the lower tier player that you can talk about. When you want to talk about the real MVP, that's when Ohtani's name starts to come in.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was over 1,000. That's fucking ridiculous.
It's unfair. It's
It's closer to 1,100 than it is 1,000 too.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Who's the last player to finish a season with an 1,100 OPS?
Didn't Judgy just do it?
Barry.
Oh, is it Judge?
Yeah.
Let's see. Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
Judgy.
1.111.
Good for him. All right, guys, we're in the heat of the summer, and if you need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby, Knock Around Sunglasses is the go-to for quality polarized shades that we don't have to break the bank for. Plus, they just released their first set of their official MLB collection, including Red Sox and Yankees sunglasses, as well as the official U.S. women's soccer team sunglasses, so you can get a little bit extra something to your game day outfit for this summer's big games. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on your overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great looking polarized shades starting at just $28. Use the promo code ROCKET and that'll get you free shipping on your order. Wow. Shout out to Knockaround. Jake, you were in the Bronx this weekend?
I was down there. Yep.
Yeah. How was that experience for you?
Oh, it was a blast. Won all three.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big series coming up for the Red Sox, though. I mean, you got 4 against the Houston Astros. I don't know. Who does it mean more for? The Red Sox or the Mariners this 4-game set? I don't know. Are we
going to skip over the fact that Jake just saved the Red Sox season?
I mean, we gave Jake plenty of credit for doing
did
that.
they not reach out to you and ask you if you want to like travel with the team or anything?
We do a whole Red Sox podcast. We covered it on that last night.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, we do a fucking Red Sox podcast, Joe.
I didn't see it.
Awkward.
Oh, well, maybe you should check it out, dude.
All right, moving on. No more Red Sox talk.
Well, I mean, we're not, you know.
No, we're gonna move on.
Well, no, I'm just curious, about Jake's experience. How would
No,
you
you're
describe?
not. Because when I said it, you guys said, we already fucking talked about that. Red Sox podcast.
Well, I mean, I just want to
But
ask Jake
everyone's
about his
already heard.
experience. Well, I mean, yeah, if you listen to the Red Sox podcast, Dallas and Jake talking Sox.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm a
Listen.
Sox fan. I'm literally over here cheering them on. They just swept the
Where's your
Yanks.
towel? Do you have a rally towel?
The Sox don't do that, dude.
Yeah, they do.
They don't do towels.
Yeah, they do. I have a bunch. Every World Series, I got one. I got a gold towel from 2007.
But they're not in the World Series.
Not yet.
I'm not a bandwagon fan. I started liking them after the World Series. And I started rooting for them when they're, you know what I'm saying? I'm not bandwagon. I didn't
You
like
started
them when
rooting
they
for
were.
when they suck.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Who's your favorite player
Right now or all time?
right now?
Right now, my favorite player on the Red Sox, probably Kenley Jensen. I think he's widely underrated.
Still
A huge signing
Dodger.
for the Sox.
Huge signing.
Huge signing
been
for
great.
the Sox. Nobody is talking about him and what
I
the
wanna
Red Sox are
say-
doing.
He's 20 for 20 in save opportunities on the road this year. Yeah. It's not bad. He's already maybe 9th longest streak of saves converted in Red Sox history. You just laughed, Dallas?
Yeah, something else though. I'm laughing at something else.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book.
I was gonna say this guy hates Kenley Jansen for some reason.
There's nothing funny about the performance that Kenley Jensen is putting up this season. He's absolutely devastating the hitters at the plate. They're having nightmares over that cutter and that added velocity. Everyone thought the pitch timer was going to tame him. It's only made him better.
That's actually a good point. That was a pretty big narrative at the beginning of the year, is how the pitch clock was going to affect certain guys, and Kenley Jansen was one of them, and he's been outstanding this year. So
That's what
people
I'm
don't even remember the pitch clock. Everyone's moved on.
It's because baseball games are quicker and people are like, man, this is kind of, I think I can get on board with this.
Yeah, all the rule changes that happened, no one talks about them anymore, which is great. That's a good thing. They're A, they're working, and B, it's kind of like umpires. If you know who the home plate umpire, what their name is, then it's because he's fucking bad. If you're still talking about the rule changes here in August, almost September, then it's because they're not working out and you're complaining about them.
Yeah. The one thing that's becoming more of an issue is the pitch comm and umpires.
Yeah.
Having to shut down the finagling of the pitch comm, maybe a little more time to get somebody ready in the bullpen. Maybe it's a abbreviated mound meeting because, the pitch comm's not working. Whoops, I gotta, hey. Yeah. So they're trying to shut that shit.
Yeah. That's what happened on Friday, right, Jake? I think it was Friday, where Aaron Boone basically said the Red Sox were cheating because the pitch comm wasn't working. So if it doesn't work for one team, then neither team can use them. So the Yankees were complaining that they couldn't use pitch comm because the Red Sox pitch comm didn't work. And I mean, they got I think it was 8-1. They got absolutely dildoed. And they were like, well, it's because our pitch comm didn't work.
Well,
No.
wouldn't that be a huge...
Because you suck. You suck. You've lost 9 straight fucking games. You have a losing record. You have a negative run differential. One night of not having a pitch comm on a night that you got fucking absolutely waffled at Yankee Stadium does not mean that's you can just blame pitch comm.
Like, let's take it to the postseason. Must-win game. You like the baseball IQ or the baseball acumen on your side more than you do on the other side. Meaning you got some guys that you think can pick up pitch tipping. You got some guys who you think if we get to second base,
well,
they can decipher some signs.
You see Jayhay's tweet the other day?
No.
The number he ranked, he showed every single team how many home runs they've hit with a runner at second base this year. And you'll be shocked to find out who's number one.
Who's number one?
Who do you think?
I don't know. The Dodgers.
No, the Atlanta Braves, and they have double the amount pretty much as the second most, right, Jayhay? Yeah. They're pretty good at picking up signs.
So if I were somebody who had that information and just felt so strongly about my side and our ability to decipher human error and sift through human movement, maybe my pitch comm doesn't work that day. Just saying, hey, sorry, Charger had some issues. Power was out all night. Fuck, I don't know, man. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to have to go manual today.
Yeah.
Hell yes. I'm telling you right now, I would do that. I would have, if I was managing a team and it was that serious and I felt that strongly about it, I would find a way for PitchCom to not be operating at its best. Therefore, leaving that decision in the hands of the umpires, who undoubtedly would make the right one and would say, I don't know if we can do this. Probably just going to have to go old school. Damn.
Yeah. What was your takeaway from that list, Jayhay?
So it might have seemed like a Braves tweet. It was actually mocking the White Sox, who over the stretch, let me pull it up. Hold on. Since July 4th, the Braves have 26 home runs and the White Sox have 1. So
with guys on second base?
No, with the guys on base, 1 home run.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, I mean, to me, I guess it wasn't that surprising because I expected to find the Braves at the top of the list as like arguably the most powerful team in the league. But to me, it was the spread that was so crazy that one team could hit 26 homers over a certain stretch and that one team could hit 1 regardless of what the split is, right? Like the White Sox have gone a month and a half hitting 1 homer.
1 homer.
In that situation. It's just crazy.
With runners on second base. That is bananas.
Also, Dallas, bad news.
What do you got?
You are going to need to make a new pick for the Baseball's Dead parlay.
Oh, somebody get bumped?
Postponed. Angels game postponed. Yeah. Whole state's underwater.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got a question about
think
that.
about that. Take your time, because we need to win. We're desperate for a win. Don't just throw one out there just because.
This is where I wanted to go back on my Tukey bet, but maybe I'll look for a team.
They're a team.
I mean,
you should just do like money line whoever the A's are playing. Who the A's playing?
We played the Royals tonight.
Oh,
and you
man.
know, and who's on the bump. You know who's on the bump.
Fucking
for the
Polly
green and
punch
gold.
myself.
That Polly punch out. Like Polly fucking punch out on the bump for the KC Royals. You know what?
I was going to wait to bring that up until final thoughts if nobody got to it, but I am fucking jacked for this Royals A's series. Like this is fucking it, man. This is it. When you get 2 teams that combine for 100 games under 500, you must tune in. You must be there.
You must.
Hey, if you weren't tuned in to the Orioles A's series, because what you saw there were 2 teams who really, I mean, frankly, they mirror each other. Now there's some discrepancy here and there, but when you talk about the youth, I mean, on both sides,
yes,
right, the excitement,
the completely
of the future.
Anonymous rosters that will be playing each other in this game is special. 74 and 176. These 2 teams are. So when I said 100 games under 500, I actually undersold it. There are 102 games under 500. And I got to tell you, if the Royals are serious about salvaging their season, they need to get back to their losing ways. Because if they let the A's win this series by losing this series, then the number 1 pick's all but locked up. And I don't know what the Royals are playing for if it's not the number 1 pick at this point. So I would expect, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some real shenanigans going on in this series, like some bunts where you shouldn't be bunting.
MLB tagline, they are going MLB. If they were smart, they would market this series as such with the tagline: "Somebody's got to win this."
Where are the graphics on the MLB account pumping this series? I want to see. Paulie punch myself. I want to see Club Soda. I want to see Yeah, I want to see all of the guys. I want to see Rook Daddy.
JJ
Day. I don't care if he's on the IL. I don't care. Put him on the graphic. He's as big of a star as they've got.
Yeah, put him on the graphic. I thought you were going to say put him on the field.
Put him on the field, too. Who gives a fuck? Probably it'll help him lose. That's what we're going for in this series, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Fucking Nicky Knox.
The whole crew.
Yeah, a.k.a. Nicky Pickett.
Hey, made a sick fucking play the other day. Sick play.
Better fucking make some plays in the field.
Yeah.
It's a guy named Davidson. Against Paulie Punch Myself tonight. That's Tucker Davidson. I didn't want to commit to that. That's the only Davidson I knew, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself because we are talking about a guy with a 6.39 ERA.
No, we're talking about a World Series champion with a pretty big TikTok account. So let's get it right.
Yeah, he does have a big TikTok.
Shit.
Yeah, he does have a big TikTok. Yes.
Well, anyway, I'm glad we talked about that because that's the series I'm most excited about this week by far.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to have to roll. You know what? Here's my
research
pick.
looking like for that series. I bet you're just buried in notes.
Jay, I don't know if you've noticed, but there was a very quick and a very abrupt ending to
brother. I noticed it. Don't you worry. I noticed. Don't you worry. I drew the I drew the correlation. I know how it happened and why it happened. I'm hoping for better things in 24 for both of us. I can't say I blame you. I can't say I blame you.
Hey, I'm not kidding. And look, we're the trust tree here. It's just us, right? Nobody else is going to hear this.
Yeah.
I found myself because it was, and I remember it was like 2 a.m, and I was just fucking around on Fangraphs, looking at shit for one of our pitchers, and I started going over and I just was like, you know what? I feel like I might be doing more right now than necessary. I feel like I know how things are going to go tomorrow. And even if they don't go exactly how I think they're going to go, I don't know that what I'm putting in right now is even going to have an opportunity to surface. I don't know.
I think my rate is a great value for what's provided, but there is no acceptable rate for the 2023 Oakland Athletics. It's give me the packet that the team puts out and wake me up after 9. I think that's where we're at right now. Totally understandable. No hard feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, you got anything to say to RDT, Dallas?
I may have overshot on what I thought was going to be an opportunity for the A's to reroute the season of the Baltimore Orioles, because I told them, look, we're taking the series. We're going to completely reroute. Hold on. You know what? Where's my fucking phone? Because I sent him a text message. This is how, just a minute.
Yeah, they didn't even come close to winning a game.
No, I mean, it was good until we started playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I tweeted out that Brent Rooker home run yesterday. It was a bomb. It was an absolute bomb. I was like, just like that, it's an 8-run game.
I said, he said, good luck this series. And I said, actually, we take 2 of 3. Derail your season. Sorry about second place in the East and the early first round exit. Maybe next year. Sincerely, the swinging fucking A's. And the swinging fucking A's went on to get shut out in one of those games, score 1 run in another one of those games.
Gunnar Henderson almost had hit for the cycle, but he decided to go for the double again. He was a single shy of the cycle and just hit a rocket down the line. It was like, fuck the cycle. I want the extra base hit.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it was actually is up the middle, I think, or like to the gap.
No, it was down. It was down the right field line.
What his talking about the double or his last hit?
The last hit where he needed a single and then he didn't pull up at first. He just fucking kept going.
No, he just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the guy that I was calling the game with, he is a adamant, like, he hates the cycle, hates it.
Whoa,
hates it, and it's because he's seen players. And when we were in, where were we? We're in Toronto. Oh, they've got an opinion about the cycle in Toronto. Let me tell you, because they watched a couple players. They watched actually one guy who really touts himself as a play the game the right way. This guy attacks anybody who's got a new thought on the game of baseball, how to approach hitting in a new way. Like this guy just attacks these people. And this is the same dude who pulled up at first base instead of going to second just so he could accomplish a personal feat in the cycle, as opposed to taking the double, which you should have done because it was available and that would help the team and not yourself. So,
who was it? Name names.
I honestly don't even want to give the attention.
What year?
Don't even want to give the attention. I want to say late 90s.
Okay. Joe's writing that down. He'll have his stat team on it. There'll be a whole fucking 20-minute video about this dude.
But it was funny because some people actually started to like reach out on Twitter about it, and applaud it because I talked about like, Gunnar Henderson and this entire lineup being just go-getters. They want to win, and they will do anything and everything they need to win. And you need to have that kind of mindset permeating throughout the clubhouse, and that's what's going on there. But let's just very briefly, cycle fans? Are we not cycle fans?
I don't care for it. I mean, it's not that like when someone does it, I'm pissed, but there are often times where I'll see someone hit 2 homers with 2 doubles, and I'm like, that's a better day than a day with the cycle.
Yeah, I don't think there's any misunderstanding that there's a difference in, production value, but like if you had to choose between having a homer and 3 double day or hitting for the cycle, give me the homer and 3 double day, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one you're taking.
Yeah.
But just in terms of cool things happening on a baseball field, the cycle is cool. I want to take it a step further and say there's really only 2 ways that a cycle is really, really, really cool. And that's
Cargo.
Last homer or last at bat, homer, walk off, fucking cap it, right? Done deal. It's over. What does he need to do? Hit a homer. What did he just do? Hit a homer. It's a done deal. So if you cap the cycle off by achieving the last hit that you need to cap the cycle off, that's cool. That takes away any sort of like, oh, did he hold up? Did he whatever? No, he needed a triple, and he fucking bang, bang, head first into third for the triple to complete the cycle. That's pimp shit.
Yeah, I would agree. If it ends on a homer or a triple, then that's cool. If you get a single to round out your day, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Well, even if he just needed a single, so Gunnar Henderson just needed a single. He lines one back up the middle, no big deal. Stays at first base like he should have because he can't go to second.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I just don't. I'm not taking any time out of my day to acknowledge it separate from the other great performances that happened that day. Like,
fair.
I have way more respect for him that
totally
he roped a fucking double down the line and got to second base and was like, "Fuck the cycle. I'm getting the extra base." I mean, obviously, it would have been super weird if he just stopped at first, but like.
Little Tony, Carlos Gonzalez. Hard drive, deep right, touchable. He's done it. Are you kidding me?
And to Jared's point, there's a reason why he immediately remembered Carlos Gonzalez, right? Because of how it ended.
For that reason, yes.
What year was that?
That was my
2009. I mean, it was a long fucking time ago. Was the point? And Jared was like, "Bam."
And he's just sitting here looking for a ball that he could drive, and he got it. It's up in the upper deck. Look at that bench go crazy. Look at Giambi.
Giambi was still playing.
And how about this? The Orioles players, when Gunnar Henderson hit the ball, you could see the Orioles players who were all on the top step kind of like disappointed. Like, oh, shit. Really? Damn it. He's going to go to second because we know him. And damn.
Also, just like from a social media perspective, having worked for the league, there was basically nothing more annoying than a potential cycle because you're like, oh, a guy's a triple away from the cycle. Should we get the graphic ready? And it's like, this guy's got 3 triples in a 15-year career. Are we going to waste time? Yes, we are. Okay, okay, great. So it's like, just a lot of wasted work.
Well, and Mark Canna actually responded to the tweet. He said, I'll never understand the appeal of hitting one of each that is a single, double, triple homer. Why is that glorified? Give me them total bases, baby. He had better than a cycle. So, Jared, in line with what you were saying, like, I think we all agree. Like, I want to produce more. If total bases is the name of the game, I don't want one less just so I can say I hit for the cycle. I want that extra base.
Well, it's the same thing of being. That's like saying, "Oh, why is an immaculate inning so sick? This other guy just got 3 out, 3 up, 3 down, 3 outs, same production."
It's same production, but in the fashion, right? Like Hall of Famer, great. A 100% vote in. You are not an inner circle guy. You are the inner circle guy. Shout out Mo. So it's not celebrated any differently per se, but it's absolutely viewed.
I mean, there's also a dominance element with the immaculate inning. Like, I agree with Joey that it's basically like an item of trivia in both cases, but like there is a succinct dominance that comes with an immaculate inning that is just impossible for a guy to achieve over 4 plate appearances across 2.5 hours, right?
It's called good morning, good afternoon, good night, 3 times in a row. Thanks for coming. Smell ya.
Smell ya. Oh man. Yeah. That was a fun one. Mookie Betts did it in Toronto with the home run in 18.
Yeah. So if you guys find that, have you guys found that player?
I have.
Are you guys looking for that player? Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
It was in Toronto. It was for Toronto.
He played for Toronto, and I believe it was even in Toronto.
Oh.
Because let me tell you, there were no shortage of opinions about that.
Played for Toronto and happened in Toronto. In the late 90s. I'm going to find it now. Do we have our investigative team on?
Yeah, was it there recorded this there was 0 late 90s, but was it Kelly Gruber?
That would be one of them.
Exposed. Then Jeff Frye would be another one who I am exposing right now. Jeff Frye, you're a piece of shit for doing that.
Wow, Joe.
Wow.
Not my words, Dallas's partners' words.
Yep. Dallas's partners' words. In the late 90s? Where the fuck? When did Jeff?
Well, no, Joey just said that it didn't happen in the late 90s, but he found him.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. 1989 and 2001.
Oh, well, fuck. I was just on the other side.
Yeah.
Book in the 90s.
It was almost the anniversary. It happened on August 17th, 2001. Jeff Frye. Jeff Frye, who has some of the worst takes on Twitter, by the way. If that is Jeff Frye.
Who the fuck?
I don't know.
I didn't know Jeff Frye had takes. I didn't even know he was on Twitter.
Oh my God. If the dude on Twitter pretending to be Jeff Frye is actually Jeff Frye,
he's not pretending.
No.
That's him.
That's him.
That's why I said he's taken it upon himself to launch a campaign against a lot of the internet hitting gurus, which, look, some of it, I'm not saying some of what he does, just the idea of calling some of these internet gurus out, necessary, very necessary. Obviously, there's a way to go about things, and Jeff Frye has definitely picked his way to go about them.
Just checked Jeff Frye account suspended.
Rest in peace.
As of now.
I don't know. I think, is this him? No. Is this him? It's She-Gone03.
Yep.
That's him?
Well, I know that the She-Gone thing is like his say, like how I say "we gone" at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just something that he says.
There you go.
Retired MLB player and leader of the She-Gone Nation. Keynote speaker, Baseball Leadership Academy, #oldhead. There was one point in time where he had me blocked, and I was like, I've never even tweeted at or about this.
I got to be honest. I can't imagine She-Gone Nation has more than like a dozen members. I just don't think that's latched on.
No.
Chico Nation.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's always tough for me to watch stuff like that because I understand where the old players are coming from. I get it. I just don't like to see them so entrenched in what they did as the end all be all, as the answer. Like, fundamentals can change. Fundamentals are fundamentals because at the beginning of, these are the things that have to be done to get to the next level. But at times there's variations of those things, and we all don't move the same. We all don't process the same. So there's room for change. And some guys, I just don't know if they are willing to accept the idea that there is room for change.
And there's also room for your ass in a big league seat at a big league game, Dallas. That's why you got to go with the GameTime app. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. GameTime is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. Shout out to the GameTime app. You had Jake sitting front row behind home plate over the weekend. How cool was that experience, Jake?
I mean, it was unbelievable, and I couldn't thank GameTime anymore for the tickets.
That's amazing. Right behind front row, right behind home plate. What an unbelievable experience. And you can do it all last minute. Forget planning months in advance. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The GameTime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use the promo code Jared, Jared, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with the promo code Jared for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Final thoughts today. My only final thought is the Milwaukee Brewers sweeping the Texas Rangers over the weekend. I'm not going to say it's a wrap because that would be ignorant, but the Chicago Cubs took 2 out of 3 over the weekend, but the Brewers swept to have a 3-game lead now over the Chicago Cubs, who have, by the way, leapfrogged the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds are currently 4 games back after losing 2 straight over the weekend. Who they play? Toronto. So yes, as of right now, the new playoff picture is you've got the Phils, you've got the Giants, and you've got the Cubbies. They are alone. Remember when we were talking about the 3-way tie for that 3rd wildcard spot? The Chicago Cubs have risen from that 3-way tie. They are the only team right now in possession of that 3rd wildcard spot. But now you have a 3-way tie for that team that's 1 game back. The Reds, Marlins, and D-backs, who have resurrected from the dead after winning 7-3. They had that brutal, 9-game losing streak. They have now resurrected, and they're back in it as well. 1 game back for the D-backs, 1 game back for the Miami Marlins, and 1 game back for the Cincinnati Reds. But a big weekend against a really good team. The Milwaukee Brewers sweeping the first place Texas Rangers to come out on the other side with a 3-game lead in the NL Central. Dallas?
Well, I need to add my parlay pick, correct?
Yes, you do.
So we're gonna roll with the Fightin' Phils. That's just what we need to do. They're at home. They've got an opener going against them in Scott Alexander for the San Francisco Giants. So we're going Phillies money line, looking for Aaron Nola to bounce back after a little bumpy outing. I just like the Phillies offense against a bullpen game for the San Francisco Giants. Phillies minus 142 money line. Book it.
Jayhay?
I have so many final thoughts that I'm going to defer one of the topics that I want to talk about till next pod. I want to get to the Pablo Lopez, Luis Arias revisit because I think Pablo's been doing some stuff that deserves a conversation. But in terms of final thoughts, a few things here. Shout out. I know I'm not the college baseball guy, but I did want to shout out Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, because Dylan Cruz has already been promoted to AA after he went 22 for 62. That's 355 with an OPS well over 1,000 and 5 homers in 14 games at Fredericksburg, I believe it was, single A. So he's already at AA. And Paul Skeens, after I believe 2 more innings, has now thrown 4 innings, allowing 1 hit, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 5 strikeouts against 14 batters faced since he debuted. So, raise it or whatever.
You can say it. You want to say it?
Well, he also rizzed up Livy Dunn.
What?
Puts a smile on Joe's face.
We mentioned her. I have no idea who that is.
He rizzed her up, bro, big time.
I did a couple of other
success.
Couple of other things.
Yeah,
say it. Say it, Jay.
Yeah, I said raise it or whatever.
Say it. No.
Say it was. Come on, say it with some fire.
Raise it. See, I don't hate the Pirates. If you suck, you suck. I feel like I put myself out on an island with that Matt Olson stuff earlier, so I did want to circle back to it. 2023, quick rundown of Matt Olson's fielding numbers. Do you like advanced statistics? He's at -6 outs above average and only +2 defensive runs saved. He has the most errors of any first baseman in baseball, and he's 16th in fielding percentage if you like traditional stats. So shout out to the Platinum Glove winner from last year. And then, somebody casually kind of made a reference to Matt Olson's season and Aaron Judge's season last year. Just quick context. Of all the seasons in the wild card era, Judge's OPS plus last year is the 7th best. Matt Olson's current OPS this year would be tied for 185th. Those are my final thoughts.
The NL East is over.
I wouldn't say that, man. The Mets are hot. They just won a series this weekend. So don't sleep on the Metropolitans.
Okay. Is that your final thought, Joe?
Don't sleep on the Mets, boys. I know it's been a tough year, but we've been here before. Remember 1969? The miserable Mets in 1968 came back and won the pennant, and we could do it again. We got Pete Alonso and Lindor and a masterful pitching staff. It starts tonight in Atlanta.
It starts tonight.
Come on, boys.
It's gonna be a good series.
Series to watch, guys. Mets Braves.
It's gonna be a good series for you guys. Can I get a go Mets, Joe?
Let's go Mets.
All right, Jake's takes.
I just love how Jayhay's World Series is 2 historically bad teams going up against each other. Like, if everyone had Jayhay's brain, this would be the highest rated series of the year.
I agree.
Fucking boneheads over at MLB. Start promoting this shit.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday. Don't try to miss us too much. Enjoy some 2 days of baseball, and we'll be back.
We go.